Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, December 23rd, 2009. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 p.m. in Hamilton. In Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. We're getting some reports that Northeastern Corridor rail service in and out of Penn Station, New York, is cut off due to some electrical failure. So this would cut off Amtrak trains as well as New Jersey Transit trains heading south. This would include the Acela Express that runs between Washington, D.C. and New York City. Also, new home sales took a real plunge, which is causing the stock market to bounce around a bit. It's down about a dozen or so points right now. We'll go to our main news. The main news today is an aircraft accident. An American Airlines 737-800 carrying 154 people skidded across a runway in Jamaica late last night in heavy rain, bouncing across the tarmac and almost ending up in the Caribbean Sea. More than 40 people were injured. The flight was American Airlines 331 from Miami. It had originated at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. The impact cracked the fuselage, crushed the left landing gear, and separated both engines from the Boeing. Crews evacuated the people from the plane. Rain poured through the plane's broken roof. 44 people were taken to hospitals with broken bones and back pains, and 4 were seriously hurt. Heavy turbulence from Miami to Jamaica had forced the crew to halt the beverage service 3 times before finally giving up. The pilot then came on the intercom and warned of more turbulence just before landing, but said it likely wouldn't be much worse. One passenger said all of a sudden when it hit the ground, the plane was kind of bouncing. Someone said the plane was skidding and there was panic. U.S. investigators will analyze whether the plane should have been landing in such bad weather. The plane took off from Miami International Airport at 8:52 p.m. and bounced down into Kingston at 10:22 p.m. The majority of the people on the plane were Jamaican citizens coming home for Christmas. It's likely, we haven't had this confirmed, but from the photographs of the aircraft, the hull will be declared a total loss. That certainly is not going to be able to be recovered. And it's a 737-800, which means it's a very new plane. It probably retails for about $45 million. So the whole insurance price at this point, without any depreciation, will be pretty darn close to that. In some economic news in the U.S., which hopefully will offset the new housing start bad news, the Commerce Department reported just this morning that personal incomes rose in November at the fastest pace in 6 months. This, of course, prompted spending to post the second straight increase for the month. This raises hopes that the recovery from the nation's recession might be gaining momentum. The government said personal incomes were up 0.4% in November, helped by a $16 billion increase in wages and salaries. This reflects the drop in unemployment that occurred last month. So this is an aggregate amount. These are people going back to work who are coming onto the payrolls. These are not people currently at work who are getting salary increases. The gain in incomes helped bolster spending, which rose 0.5% in November. Although the spending and income gains were slightly less than the economists had expected, the stock market had been up until the new housing numbers came out. Well, we had not reported on this story yesterday, although it has ended tragically, unfortunately. The body of Luis Francisco Cuellar, the governor of a state in Colombia, was found this morning. Actually, it was yesterday afternoon. He had been kidnapped the day before, allegedly by leftist fighters. He was found with his throat cut. The president of Colombia, Alvaro Uribe, announced that the body had been found last night, only hours after the launch of a massive military operation to rescue the governor. The president said it's not clear exactly when Governor Cuellar was killed. He said the military has told me that as they were in hot pursuit, the terrorists most likely to avoid firing shots went ahead and killed the governor. The governor is the first governor to be kidnapped and murdered since President Uribe took office in 2002. promising a safe democracy and cracking down on armed groups. In Australia, they're having a heck of a time with fires in the southern part of the country. Residents are fleeing for their lives this morning as savage wildfires are blazing out of control. This comes less than a year after 173 people were killed in neighboring Victoria state by fires. Officials are warning that searing heat and strong winds could prove catastrophic as a large blaze burns outside the town of Port Lincoln. One observer said, "I'd just like to say to people who are out there on the roads and blocking the roads, people like me are fleeing for our lives. Get out of the way." The county fire service said that the fire was just a few kilometers from Port Lincoln and extremely dangerous, cutting electricity to thousands of homes. A second major blaze was going near the town of Kingston in the state's southeast. Much of the state has been declared at catastrophic risk as temperatures soared above 40 degrees Celsius and strong winds buffeted the region. The protests in Iran are spreading from Qom. Now they are in Isfahan, about 300 kilometers south of Tehran. Security forces clashed with opposition protesters for the memorial for Ayatollah Montazeri. The gathering at the main mosque in Isfahan was meant to honor Ayatollah Montazeri, who died on Sunday. More than 50 people were arrested today, including pro-opposition cleric Masoud Adib, who was expected to address the gathering at the mosque. Mourners poured out in thousands into the streets leading to the mosque, and they were beaten by Basiji militiamen and plainclothes detectives. Tear gas and pepper spray were used to disperse the crowds. Also present was the former presidential contender Hussein Mousavi, who had been fired from his position as a member of the Fine Arts Council for appearing at a protest yesterday in Qom. Tens of thousands of people outside the memorial were attacked by security forces today. And Britain has the dubious distinction of remaining the last major global economy in recession. And this is after official government data showed that the country's output decreased by 0.2% in the third quarter. The British Office for National Statistics said that the UK's GDP contracted by 0.2% during the July to September period compared with the previous period. The government had previously put the contraction at 0.3%, while analysts' consensus had been showing a shrinkage of only 0.1%. So Britain officially ends up 2009 as the only top economy in recession after the Eurozone, France, Germany, Japan, and the U.S. have all emerged. It's going to be tough news for Gordon Brown when he runs in front of the voters this summer. The stock market is still down about 5 points. We'll go to a word from our sponsors.
Every day, the world wakes up and goes to work, pursuing the unique opportunities that lead the global economy forward. The complexity and close connectivity of today's global marketplace is a true modern miracle that can create unparalleled success. But it takes confidence, passion, innovation, and understanding.
Enabling opportunity.
Protecting capital.
Engineering innovation. Investing in your future.
Ensuring continuity.
Finding the right balance.
It takes Aon.
We're getting increasing reports